Good evening, Deckers, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Deckers Way Early Evening News. I'm Megan Haynes.
And I'm Brianna Ojeda, returning to you with another update on the latest Deckers Way conversation, humility.
If you caught our last broadcast, you know that humility means a lot of different things to everyone here at Deckers. This evening, we'll be going over some of the highlights from the last couple weeks, as well as further exploring the importance of humility in the workplace through an exciting special guest interview.
Well, Megan, our poll results are in, and while it looked like listening was going to come out in the lead, we were all pleasantly surprised by the winner, modesty.
And this is great news, because the dictionary definition of humility is the quality of being modest. The word in English comes from the Latin root meaning low to the ground or of the earth. This is the same Latin root that the English word human comes from.
So that's the textbook definition, but what we love is what it means to you. Here are a few of our favorite contributions so far. Just in, our very own Shankar, a requirements analyst in Flagstaff, Arizona, research shows that humility promotes forgiveness and control over anger and reduces anxiety. In this way, humility promotes ability to collaborate and promotes good health. Well, Megan, I guess humility is great for your career and your health.
That's right, Brianna. And now we're going to turn it over to our reporter, Sean Knotts. Today, Sean is with our very own CEO, Angel Martinez. Let's see what Angel has to say about humility.
Thanks, Megan. I'm sitting here today with Angel Martinez. Angel, thank you very much for taking the time to participate in this great discussion about humility with us.
No problem.
I have just several questions that I was hoping to ask you about humility, and I'll just get going. Why do you see humility as one of the key Deckers Way ideals?
Well, to me, it's humility is one of those things that's an ideal for your life. You know, it's like the opposite of what I'm referring to would be Donald Trump, for example. You know, yes, he's been very successful, and maybe as much because of his hair and firing people, but in the end, I prefer an approach that acknowledges other people's contribution and the fact that but for some lucky breaks, you know, we wouldn't be here. You know, you could go outside tomorrow and it could be over in a heartbeat, you know. So to walk around as if you own the world is a bit delusional.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you believe that humility contributes to the company's financial success as well as its culture? And if so, in what ways would you describe?
Well, I think humility is one of those things that creates space. Mm-hmm. You know, so for example, it's that old adage about half glass full, half empty, in the sense that if you have your glass so full of yourself, there's no room for anything to go into that vessel. You know, you need some humility to carve out empty some space so that there's room for new things, new ideas, new possibility, new things to get excited about, you know, and otherwise it's overflowing with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a burden as far as I'm concerned, you know.
Absolutely. As a CEO of Deckers, have you found humility to be a particularly helpful quality in regards to your approach to management and leadership, and in what ways has it proved helpful for you?
Well, in my experience here at Deckers, it just seems as if this is a highly complicated industry and business, as simple as it may seem on the surface. You know, it's actually a complex organization, and you have to be open to other people's perspective, other people's point of view, and the fact that they have the answer in many cases and you don't. And that even if you think you do have the answer, you could be wrong.
Yeah.
And I think the best decisions come out of a collective sense of value, you know, treating everyone's ideas as important as yours, and then really understanding the varying levels of relevance that some ideas may have in terms of solving a problem or creating an opportunity, you know. So you end up sort of evaluating among a bunch of good ideas versus spending a lot of time thinking about the only good idea, which might be yours, you know, which is usually not the case. And it devalues everyone else's contribution in the organization. It kind of makes people feel less than important, you know, and the opposite is true.
Yeah, so it's really on focusing on listening and valuing the contribution of everyone, really.
Yeah, it goes back to the notion that if you're full of yourself, you can't have room for anyone or anything else, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any personal experiences or stories that you would like to share that present a guiding example for practicing humility in life or in the workplace?
I think all of us have an idea about how humility has given us a wake-up call, you know. And many people have had bad things happen in their lives that make them understand they're not in control. And you know, you can't think for a minute that you are. So you do have to appreciate every moment and all the people that you're with, your family and your friends and the career that you have and this company, because we're all privileged to be here. I mean, these are all things that you can't take for granted. They could be, look what happened in Japan, you know, from one day to the next, entire communities, you know, destroyed.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of little companies in those villages and towns, you know. So, you know, I think we've all got to keep things in perspective, you know.
Yeah.
This is all really important, but not really important. You know, it's all a part of living a good life.
Yeah.
You know, being a good person. That's in the end what matters the most.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. And back to you, Megan.
Wow, great stuff. Thank you, Sean and Angel. Well, folks, we hope that you've enjoyed this evening's broadcast as it concludes our series.
Be sure to keep checking Yammer on our discussion of humility until the end of April.
Until then, this has been Megan Haynes.
And Brianna Ojeda reporting to you live on the Deckers Way.
Stay humble, Deckers.